It's time for RPM Club, the weekly radio show that celebrates the love of cars as we break down the business and pleasure of all things automotive. If you're passionate about cars, you'll love RPM Club. Here are your hosts, Rick and Rob Mancuso.
Welcome to the RPM Club. Rob, this is great. How long have we waited and talked about this?
We've talked about this for quite a while, and we've got a lot to talk about. There's so much in this business to talk about. One of the things that we've been discussing is what the show should be about and what it should not be about.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of shows out there.
Right. And the show's not about us. We're so interested in to hear the opinions of anybody that's listening, because everybody has a story about cars. Whether it's the road they're driving, the clothes they wore, the person they were with, the weather conditions they drove in. Everybody's got a story. Everyone's got a dialogue. Everyone's got an opinion. And that's the interesting part of this for us, to hear what everybody out there thinks about cars, because there's lots of opinions. Men and women, we want to hear them.
Everybody has an opinion.
Everybody.
Everywhere we go, when people find out what we do for a living, what we've done for a living, everybody wants to corner us and talk about it. So that just means that America has a continuing love affair with cars.
I think so.
Which is absolutely outstanding. And, you know, one of the things we should probably do, just take a short time to do it, and probably only on this episode, is to just say a little bit about our background. And I think I can start by saying very simply, I've spent every working moment of my life in the business. And we grew up in the business, and no one knows better than you. You preceded me in it.
Yeah, interesting times, too, through the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s, just the last 53 years, or 56 years, actually, when you think about it. So we've heard lots of car stories, and we've told lots of car stories, too.
Some of them are true.
What were you saying earlier when we were talking? Very confident.
We're always confident, and we're often wrong.
So that's the approach on this. But it's not about what we think. It's about what you think, the listeners, because that's where the real energy is.
Right. And we think we can fill in some of the blanks because, for one reason or another, the car business is always in the news.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, whether it's a brilliant new car or a big recall. I'm not mentioning Ford yet. But there's always something to talk about. So one of the things that we will do is, in each show, we're going to spend just a couple minutes highlighting some of the last 7 days events in the industry.
That's really interesting. I know you set an algorithm up to look at that. There's so much news. It's almost hard to stay on top of it. Well, you can look at all the feeds and YouTube and social media and Facebook, just everywhere. It's hard to digest it. So you've set up a program to select the top 10 each day, and then you can set that for any time period you want. So tee it off, because there's some interesting things there. What we're not going to talk about is square footage in the trunks, gas mileage, that kind of stuff, because we don't care. We're more interested in the art and thrill and joy of driving.
It's a great way to say it. We will not be practical.
Correct.
We're going to talk about the art and the science.
Yes.
And the love of it.
Yes.
And to the news portion, yes. I mean, one of the things that I've done, and I want to share with our listeners, I do a newsletter every day that picks out the 10 most important things happening in the business.
And it's never the same.
It's different every day.
And you could make that for the top 20 or 30, and it would never be the same.
Absolutely right. The tough part for me is when we do the show is to narrow it down to 5.
That's the hardest part of all, I think.
So as recently as 3 hours ago, before coming into the studio, I was working with my now finely tuned algorithm to look at some of the big items. And I try only to talk about things that I think might be of interest to the average driver. The average driver that has an interest in the industry, because some people don't, and some people want to know all the ins and outs. I'll give you an example. There's a lot of talk about the Chinese cars that are being built, and that in some ways they're considered to be superior, in some ways they're considered to be great values. And that's probably right, but in some of those situations...
Well, is it? Or is it hearsay? What is it? I've never seen one, driven one, or felt one.
And the government, for probably all the right reasons, survival, our government is trying to keep them out of the country. Now they're trying to make an inroad through Canada and maybe through Mexico. To get some cars into the States.
Surrounding us.
They're surrounding us. That's right. Now, the one thing I don't want anyone to ever forget is the fact that the way they build cars is different than we do. The workers they use are not paid like our workers. So they're not charitable. We are somewhat charitable in our country through our union setup, the way we build cars. Chinese don't necessarily do that. And there's some security issues. There's some other things. But I remember when we used to laugh at Japanese cars back in the 70s and 80s, and we referred to them as foreign cars, and we thought they'd never go anywhere. And look what happened.
Yeah, it's really something. Everyone was kind of asleep when they landed here.
Well, I'll never forget. It was, I think, the first year Lexus was in the country. I think it might have been 1984. Again, always confident, often wrong. That's the date I'm going to use, 1984. And we had the Cadillac dealership. And I took a bunch of our guys up to pick up we bought a Lexus sedan. We wanted to see what it was all about. And on the way back, everybody was silent in the car. I didn't know if they were asleep or not. They were in shock at how beautifully assembled and how perfectly finished the car was. And that kind of gave us a little peek under the tent, what was coming. And we didn't know it would be as big as it is, that Toyota would be fighting GM for the top spot in the United States. But that's kind of the way it ended up.
That's really a terrific car company.
They don't make many mistakes.
They really don't put a foot wrong.
And to that point, what they've done very well is building their hybrid cars. It started with the Prius. Everyone forgets where hybrid came from, and it was Prius. They started with that car. And hybrids were big, then they were not so big, then the EVs came out, and then people were afraid of EVs. The hybrid is kind of a half-pregnant approach to it. There's people, I'm convinced, that have hybrids that don't even know they do because they work so beautifully, so efficiently. And they don't require a plug-in. All they do is make the car faster and more economical. So that's one of the things that is really propelling Toyota into the spot that it's in now is they're experts at hybrids.
They haven't made many mistakes. Honda's the same way. They have cultures that support that chase for perfection, and we've learned a lot from them. And all of our car companies are way better than they ever were in the 70s and 80s. That's for sure. Are they perfect? No, we got a long way to go, and everybody does. We're always in the birth of some brand new technology like we are right now with the electric car. 6 months ago, if you had said, what about the electric car? It was easy to say it's dead and gone 12 months ago. But it's really kind of creeping right back in now.
Well, it is.
For a lot of the right reasons, by the way. But they have room to improve.
Everyone thought when the federal tax credit went away that $7,500 was going to kill the market. And the answer is it did temporarily.
Yeah.
But when you look around and you look at current gas prices and you look at the efficiencies and the lack of service required from EVs, full disclosure, I drive a Tesla, a Model S Plaid, and try to use all 1,020 of those horsepower that's in that car. But I'm fully convinced that it's the finest car I've ever driven. And as you have, we've driven some pretty nice cars.
Yeah, that's a great car.
So I'll try not to show any bias for Tesla because I want to remain open-minded about it. But on the EV side, Ford is now looking at this saying we can't compete. It's a certain level. We're going to try to build the cheapest EV. Everyone thinks they're super expensive. It's not quite true. You can get in a Tesla for $40,000. So this is a constantly moving target. And like I said earlier, we could kind of do a whole show, at least I think I could, probably by myself without taking a breath, about what's going on with EVs. It's that exciting.
And that's getting a little too practical for me right now.
I know it is. I know you're more into the racing and the spirit and the passion. I'm right there with you, brother.
I know.
I'm right there with you. I'm just coming at it from a little different angle.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to hear something explode when I hit the gas pedal. But noise-wise, but that's another discussion.
That's right. That's right. Well, I think we're going to see a lot of things happening in the next 12 months because the industry is really going through this withdrawal from pulling back from these huge investments in EV technology. These write-offs have been unbelievable for the money that was spent on CapEx to try to build electric cars, and they're kind of ceding the market to Tesla. And this is one of the things that I try to stay attuned with every day because I think there is an opportunity for the average buyer of cars, and this is the practical side of me, I guess, to look at what a good move it can be for most people if they approach it the right way. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and I blame all the manufacturers for that. I even blame Tesla for not doing a good job of talking about their products. When was the last time you saw a TV ad for Tesla? And if you tell me, I'm going to have to call you on it because they don't advertise.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So it's a whole different way to look at cars.
That's the Ferrari approach.
Well, right. You know all about that.
That's on the other end of the spectrum.
Have they ever done ads?
No, but one could argue that Formula One's a pretty good ad.
It's sure getting the audience.
It's sure getting the audience out of absolutely almost no interest 10 years ago.
I mean, this is similar to what's going on with the World Cup. I mean, I think we've built now a soccer audience in this country that'll probably always be there, I would think.
Yeah.
But Formula One, and you have to give a lot of credit to Drive to Survive. You got to give Netflix some
That
credit
was
for
the ignition.
Isn't that something?
That really lit it up.
Well, that's, as we said at the very beginning, everything changes and it changes real fast. So it's going to be our job and our joy to try to help you all stay up with it, at least the fun part. That's why we're here. Welcome to the RPM Club.
Perfect.
Celebrating the love of cars and the joy of driving. You're listening to RPM Club with Rick and Rob Mancuso.
That was a good section. I like that kickoff. That was real good. A little too businesslike for me.
I understand.
Okay,
that.
very focused. Almost a little industrial, a little too much
me.
practical. Okay, we have differences in personalities here, and that's kind of how
It's
it rolls.
a good thing.
But I've got a little different approach and topic I'd like to talk about. The enormous stupidity of the drivers every day we see on the road. It's mind-boggling to me how bad people drive. I was thinking on the way over, I wish they had a requirement where you had to put your IQ on the license plate, because then you'd have some idea what you're doing. I'm watching people tailgating in the fast lane at 80, 85 miles an hour, women in vans with their heads down while they're texting. I can't believe what I'm seeing. The early morning news, they have icons for cars upside down on fire that they plug in every morning wherever the potential explosions are, on cars that have rolled over, crashed, maybe jumped around, and are on fire. It's no big deal.
It's a daily occurrence.
It's no big deal. And then what did we talk about the other day? The crazy things you've seen when we're driving. And we're going to throw a few out there, and we're going to reach out to the listeners at some point too. But did you start it off where you said someone drove by you eating?
Yeah, I was at a stoplight the other morning, and
This is unbelievable.
it was pretty busy, and we're all trying to pay attention and make it across the intersection without a crash. And the guy next to me is eating a bowl of cereal. First,
I can't believe
when
it.
I saw him put the meal together,
I can't believe it.
he poured in the Fruit Loops. He opened up the half gallon of milk, and he filled up the bowl, and he's eating.
I can't.
And I'm just trying to stay focused on the drive. So what's next? At the next stoplight, a guy carving a prime rib. I don't know what to expect.
You don't know what to
behind the
expect.
wheel these days. But I think you and I talked about this, and one of the reasons I think this happens is, it's going to sound silly, I think the cars are too good.
I think it's a fair point.
Because we both know,
Yes.
in years past, going 50, 60, 70, 80, 90
Yes.
miles an hour was full-on concentration.
Yeah.
Because of the bias belted tires, because of the drum brakes, because of everything else. Now, you can steer with your knees at 90 miles an hour and eat a bowl of cereal. And I think it lends that to people there, that feeling of confidence that may be why we're still seeing some crashes. And from what I've heard, I've looked at some of this NHTSA data, the practical side of me.
Here we go.
The crashes are more the higher speed crashes now.
Yeah.
Crashes are taking place at higher speed.
Well, they look like airplane crashes when you see the debris field behind them.
That's right.
But let's get back to the stupid stuff.
There's plenty of it
because that's
out
kind of my area of
there.
expertise.
And we can't wait for our listeners on ensuing episodes to call in and tell us some of their stories.
So the guy eating a bowl of cereal at the stoplight.
Yes.
Okay, mind-boggling to me. I saw an ad the other night for a table that hooks onto the steering wheel of your car that you can use when you're driving in a straight line.
What if you have to turn?
Well, you have to turn slowly, apparently, or something, or swipe the food. But you can set the food up while you're driving. Literally have a table in front of you while you're driving. I asked my wife what she's seen out there. She said she saw a guy shaving. I said, well, that's not that big. She said he was using shaving cream.
In a straight razor?
But he had looking in the mirror, the vanity mirror, and lathering his face while he's driving. I had a semi go by me the other day, didn't let me in. I think I know why. I don't think anybody was in the tractor.
He was in the back of the cab.
I looked up, I couldn't see ahead.
Well, people have lost or maybe never had the skill sets to drive, certainly to the capability of some of these cars. That's why they need coaching.
Well, we've got a guy in mind. We're going to bring him online here in just a minute or two. But there's so much more stupid stuff out there. My spot is the tailgating and the texting is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The people are going 70 to 90 miles an hour, and they're one car length behind the car in front of them, and they're not looking at the car. And to me, as you know, driving is an art. It's beautiful. It's therapeutic. It's rewarding. It's beauty. I just love it. I don't know what car brand. It doesn't make any difference. Every car I get into is the greatest car I've ever driven, and I enjoy every bit, something good in every one of them, because they're all so good, to your earlier point.
Well, you've spoken before, and at first it sounded weird to me, but I do have a psychology background, so I kind of bought in.
Here we go.
And you said driving can be therapy.
Yes.
And I've learned that is true.
Yeah.
And I know that there's what I call junk driving, which is commuter driving back and forth to work. But in the right car at the right time, and I guess with the right driver, it can be very therapeutic. I know I like nothing more than on a nice weekend morning taking the right car out on the right road and just by myself, just having some fun. Nothing illegal. It has nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with speed.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with that. Just enjoying the way the car was designed, the engineering that's in the car, and probably like everybody else, I could stand some good coaching.
Well, we've got a great coach online, Tony Kester, TK. I don't know if we can hear him at this point yet. We'd like to get a muffler on him most of the time. TK, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Good, TK.
Anytime we talk about driving and so forth, I always think of you and all the races and things we've done over the last 40 years and the coaching that you've done with all levels of drivers. And it's got to be really challenging for you at times, I know, when you're starting with complete rookies or doing more social type driving tips. But it must be really frustrating for someone like yourself who's been a professional driver, won national championships, run GT cars and open wheel cars and prototype cars and done test driving for the manufacturers and on and on and on and on. It just keeps going. And you keep getting better at it and have such a wonderful inventory of stories that any comments you make are so important. I think if you listen to this and learn one thing from listening to our coach, and this is our official coach, Tony Kester. He's the best at it. We just love this guy. But do you agree with the craziness you see out on the roads? Can you digest it?
What's the craziest thing I saw yesterday? It's the craziest thing I've seen every day for a few years now is the whole texting thing.
Yeah.
I mean, driving down 355, there's a young lady in the left-hand lane, probably in her mid-20s, driving an SUV, going 65. Well, everybody knows the speed limit on 355 is about 80 or 85.
Yeah.
At least that's the official one. And so I go by her, and she's got the car on cruise control. Her right foot is up on the dash, and she's flicking through Instagram or something. Looks over at me, looks back, and just keeps on doing it.
Yeah.
She did not know you were the coach.
But it's a huge problem. It's illegal, but nobody cares, and it's really easy to fix.
Well,
also,
Tony, one of the things we should talk about, and I think maybe we'll do it after the break, is just some tips to give people.
Yeah, we got to keep TK around to the next section here. He's just getting warmed up.
We want to hear some usable, deployable driving tips for people regardless of the car they're in, so they can stay safe, and then maybe we move from there to how to have some fun with it. I mean,
or give some bad advice to see if anyone's paying attention.
That's always the plan too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm your guy. Just turn me loose.
Exactly.
So when you see these things on the road, what are your thoughts? Do you think we need more driver training? Do you think that wouldn't help? Do you hear my comment? I don't know if you did about I think cars are too good and they let people make a lot of mistakes.
Totally agreed. Out on 355, it's nothing to see people cruising along in an SUV at 90 miles an hour. And it used to be you didn't go over 65 with your car with the bias ply tires and everything because it's just incapable of it. And the problem is the cars have gotten better. And as you say, the drivers have gotten worse. And it's a learned art. and they aren't learning it. And if they trained pilots the way they train drivers, there wouldn't be any airplanes left in about a month.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's not that people aren't capable. I teach a lot of teen schools, and the kids get 45 minutes in each drill. And after about 2 or 3 runs, you're going, how do these kids ever get a driver's license? And after 35 minutes, they're superstars. They learn it real fast. These kids aren't racers. They're just regular kids. And it's a learned art, and they can learn it, but they don't get trained normally. And to fix the problem, it'd take decades because you'd have to train everybody all the way up.
You know, how about insurance companies requiring training like that? They're the ones that end up footing the bill. Maybe they should be the ones paying for the training.
And I worked at a driving school in Ohio where one of the big insurance companies in the state would buy a whole teen school, 24 seats. And we would show up, and they would give them to their customers. We would come 8 o'clock in the morning.
Hang in here. We're going to bring you back. This is too good.
Okay.
You're listening to the RPM Club.
Now, more of RPM Club. Here are your hosts, Rick and Rob Mancuso.
All right, Tony, I hope you're warmed up. Warm tires, warm brake pads. Let's go.
I'm not even.
You ready?
Yep.
Finish your story about the driving spots that was purchased by the company. That was interesting. That was in Mid-Ohio?
Yes. And the whole school was bought out by an insurance company, American Family. And it was given, these slots were given to their insurance agents to give to young drivers, teen drivers, 24 of them. They gave them all out. We had a full school. We all show up at 8 o'clock in the morning, the instructors, and 8:30, 9 o'clock, 10, nobody shows up. So we didn't have the school. We went and played golf.
My God.
So,
It's hard to believe.
And so this is like, I mean, it's like $350. And it shows you that the kids don't want to come on a Saturday or Sunday morning, but obviously the parents didn't think it was that important. And every teen driving school of any quality around the country should be full every day.
Yeah, I
And
agree with
not.
that. I get asked that question a lot too. Kids or grandkids, especially, that are 14, 15 years old. How do you train them?
Yep.
People seem to be a little bit more aware of it. At least a lot of the grandparents and parents are more aware of it. And some of the kids, we have lots of girls in our family, the granddaughters especially. I'm surprised at how interested they are in cars and learning how to drive the right way. It's really encouraging. It's great.
Could be a little DNA there, too.
Well, there's some good talent there with them.
Yeah.
But it's fun to see the interest in the guys and the gals participating in that. But if you're going to sit somebody down, let's say you're sitting a 14, 15-year-old down, and you want to give them some driving tips that are really the important ones, what do you tell them?
Look ahead, awareness.
Yeah.
Because you can do that. You don't need training. I mean, it is some form of training, but you need to be trained to know how to brake to the maximum of a car, know how to use its cornering capabilities to avoid an accident. But it's pretty easy to realize you need to look ahead when you're going 100, 120, 130 feet per second. Look ahead instead of looking, over the hood of the car. And it's awareness of that 360-degree bubble that should be around your car. If I'm test driving a race car on a racetrack and I know there's no other car on that racetrack, I have a hard time driving that car if it doesn't have mirrors on it, just because it's
I agree with that, yeah.
Tony, one of the things I have people ask me often when they have a 15 or 16-year-old about to get a car, the comment I usually hear is, I know they're going to bend every fender, so I'm going to buy something cheap. I'm going to buy something old and cheap, so when they wreck it, it's not a big deal. And I'll tell you what happens. I had a very dear friend of mine say that to me, and I said, I'm going to offer a little different viewpoint. You just told me you're pretty sure your son's going to crash his car. And he said, well, they all do. And I said, I would get the I would go find the latest model with the most airbags and the most technology that you can afford to buy him and get him that car. And sure as heck, a couple months later, he was unfortunately in a pretty bad crash, but he walked away from it and all the airbags went off.
Yeah, to your earlier point, how good the cars are.
That saved his life.
Yeah.
So if you could couple the skill sets with the technology, we could save some lives most likely.
40,000 people a year get killed in car crashes, and people really don't do a whole lot about it. If 400 people got killed in airline crashes, they'd go nuts.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
a very good point.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be when my kid crashes. It should be if, he does crash. And for, it's $350, $400 to send the kids through one of these good teen schools. And it's cheap money it's just money in the bank to where you don't need those airbags. Because, God forbid the airbags ever have to go off, and they're not going to go off as often if you know how to avoid accidents properly. People are afraid to push the brake pedal. They're afraid to turn the steering wheel because they've never done it.
Well, is there any more dangerous real estate on the roads than intersections? They're terrifying.
Pardon me?
Intersections. People see yellow lights now. They don't slow down. They floor it.
I totally agree that the increase in seeing people running red lights in the last 10 years is amazing.
It's crazy, and it's stupid.
There's, again, coming back to the practical side here, coming back to the Tesla side here. And again, if we get into this in detail, the phones will light up with the Tesla full self-driving capabilities. If you can be in a car that can see 360 degrees around you, can see so much better than you can and controls the brakes and the steering and the throttle, that also can save some lives. It's another show, like I said earlier, but I'm a big believer in that, and I think we're making progress towards getting there.
Tony, you'll know the year. It was probably 10 years ago, maybe even 15. I know Chevrolet put what looked like an iPad inside one of the C5R Corvettes, and it showed the car in the center of the screen, and it had like a 50-foot circle around it, and the color inside was different. And if a car penetrated that circle, it would start showing up on your screen right away, and it would start flashing, and you could monitor what was going on behind you. So if you got ready to turn in, you didn't have to move your head. There was nothing there. There was nothing there. But you knew it for sure. Today, people just turn in. Well,
this is the kind of thing we want to talk about on the show. We want to keep our listeners safe. We want to keep the children safe that are getting into their cars for the first time. So we'll continue this discussion. Tony, I hope you'll come back because no one can talk to this any better than you.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Always enjoy it. I learned so much from you.
You're listening to the RPM Club
with Rick and Rob.
We now return to RPM Club with your hosts, Rick and Rob Mancuso.
One of the questions we get regularly, both brothers, when we're out and about, we call it the cocktail party conversation when we get cornered, and it's always so much fun, is the collector market.
That's interesting, too.
Right? And people are asking, is that a real thing? Do you have to be a millionaire to do that? Are there cars worth investing in? And should I buy a car just as an investment? And how would I do that? And is the market getting better for this stuff or worse? Demographics change over time. Does that change the volume of cars flowing through the auctions? And what are some of the cars that maybe some of our listeners might want to take a look at? This is your expertise much more than mine, so I'm happy to TO you for this.
What did you say earlier when we were talking? Always confident, often wrong?
Correct.
Yeah, that's our baseline here. But I've never seen a market as confusing as it is right now. And we can look back 50 years on this market. It's been unbelievable. 50 years ago, 40, 30, they didn't talk about collector cars as much. Now it's the rage. Stock markets watch it. Wall Street watches it. You hear stories that hedge funds are investing in cars, that there's secret collections going on. I don't understand it. I don't have the mental bandwidth to understand it or make recommendations on it. I think when it comes to cars, you buy what you like because you want to drive it and enjoy it.
There you go. It's like buying art.
And if you really like it, keep it. And someday, if everything goes well, it might be worth more than you paid. But people that come to us and for years have said, what can I buy? It's going to be a great investment. I don't think you should look at cars that way. No one knows from one day to the next. It's really hard. But I can tell you one thing, in this market right now, where everybody's focusing on the top end, I'm looking at the bottom end. I'm looking at the less expensive cars. What are the cars that have nothing but runway ahead of them? Because some of these fancy sales that you hear about in the millions of dollars, they could be nearing the end of that runway.
So what are some of those cars?
Which cars?
Some of the cars that are more accessible, we'll put it that way, to buy.
American muscle cars. That comes to mind right away.
Mm-hmm.
They look good, sound good, and they're all over. There's millions of them out there.
We do everything big in America. We build lots of everything.
Oh, yeah. It's just great stuff. And it's very heritage correct. It's a fun part of our country. It's a perfect year to embrace some of the American cars that have been built. And you look back on some of them, and they just fun to drive, and they look good, and everybody seems to enjoy them. You get a lot of thumbs up when you drive them. So whether it's an old Pontiac GTO or a Mustang, somebody has that car that they want in their mind, and they've had it for years. Go buy it. Drive it and enjoy it. You want to fix it up a little bit? Fix it. You want to fix it up a lot? Fix it up. You want to fix it up so much you're never going to drive it? Why buy it?
Sure.
I know some guys do that, and they want them perfect. They want to win the car shows. They trade the cars there. I don't. I'm a driver. Any car I've got or want to drive, I want to drive it. I want to hear it and enjoy it and just take it on great roads and have fun with it. It's really hard to quantify what's going on right now.
You know, it's interesting. There was a prevailing thought the last couple of years that interest in cars was fading.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
That the current generation was losing interest. A lot do not get driver's licenses, at least right away. And that the future of any kind of collection of cars was not looking very positive. But I'll tell you what, every time I turn around, there's another Cars and Coffee, there's another meet, there's another Corvette Club, GTO Club, Toyota Camry Club. They're all Tesla clubs. They're all over the place. So I've got to think, regardless of what the data shows, that people still have a real deep interest in cars, and that's the passion that we want to talk about on the show.
Yeah, it's part of everyone's identity. They associate, they assimilate with the car. It brings back memories. It brings back fun and thrills. It brings back how good they weren't in those years compared to today's cars, which are fabulous, to your earlier point.
Well, we lived through a lot of that.
We've seen a lot of it.
I mean, we've had experience with many different franchises, and before any of the so-called foreign cars came into the country, we were strictly associated with American brands.
Corvette.
And
Corvette.
We watched Corvette go from a solid axle, 6-cylinder was it?
Oh
initially?
my God, a 6-cylinder power glide, 2-speed power glide, 53 to the ZR1X. I mean, it's an unbelievable car. Just to quantify that a little bit on a sidebar, in '89, we did the road testing with Car and Driver for the Ferrari F40. We broke every performance envelope they'd ever measured: braking, G-force, quarter mile, top speed, elapsed time, all of that. It was great fun for me because I got to do the top speed test, which I really enjoyed, and it was really great fun. That's another whole story. But here are the two numbers you should remember. We were the first car to break 120 miles an hour. The quarter mile, F40 did 124. And we were the first car to break 12 seconds in the F40. We did an 11.9.
Wow.
About 2 months ago, the Corvette ZR1X did 158 miles an hour in the quarter mile, running 8.8 seconds.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
And a car you can, at least in theory, order from your neighborhood Chevrolet dealer.
Yeah, and my buddy of mine was driving it during that time, and he drove it up from L.A. up to a racetrack and drove it back to L.A. and drove it to Cars and Coffee for the weekend and had it for 4 or 5 days, and it was perfect. It's unbelievable.
Well, they've surely become very, very versatile. And to my point that I'll continue to repeat, the cars are good. They're getting better every day. They're computers on wheels. What defines fun changes with technology and with what customers want, but there's still great drives to be had out there.
Oh, you're right.
And when we come back,
let's touch on that.
let's talk on some of the great drives we've had.
Right here.
Right here.
Outside Chicago.
And why they were so good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun.
You're listening to the RPM Club.
If you're passionate about all things automotive, you're in the right place. This is RPM Club. Here's Rick and Rob Mancuso.
As we stated at the beginning, a big portion of our show will become responding to what listeners want to hear, their thoughts. So we've got a 24/7 call-in line where you can call or text. Give us your thoughts, what you'd like to hear us talk about on the show, and we'll try to get back to every one of you. So the number is 312-772-6834. One more time, 312-772-6834. That's our call and text line for the RPM Club.
Let me add something, that everyone's opinion matters. Everyone's opinion is important, and we want to hear it because it brings another line of approach to understanding the beauty and the art and therapy of driving. And it's fun to hear it. I mean, we've been listening to it all our lives, and I'll tell you, I've learned a lot from it.
Sure.
I don't mean I agree with it with every time I hear something. And many times I don't, but it probes a little more thought. And I find that to be really energizing. And I think that's going to be the funnest part of what we're doing here.
Totally. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So we're finishing up, and we want to talk a little bit about the best drives we've taken.
Yeah.
These are some of the things we want to hear from listeners as well. So what about you? Best drive and why?
Well, I've got a good inventory of those to talk about, on the track or off the track. So I think maybe I have to say 2 years ago, I co-drove with a friend of mine who had a 250 Ferrari GTO. And we drove it on a tour from Western Virginia into Tennessee. And we were on the road for a couple of days with 15 other GTOs.
Oh, boy, you don't see that too often.
That was unbelievably. The cars were perfect. They ran great. And that's a once-in-a-lifetime journey. I was so thrilled just to be part of that. But I'll tell you, I've had just as much fun and just as exciting drives in Corvettes and other brands' cars as well. And we'll touch on those later down the show, but I don't know how you top a 250 Ferrari GTO drive. But we did. We actually drove the Penske Grand Sport Spider as well in the tour at Pebble Beach. So, but there's great drives around this area too, and that's what I want to focus on.
Yeah, mine is pretty.
Even though I said just the opposite. Right?
Well, yeah, mine is a little closer to home, I guess. Growing up in Chicago, one of my favorite drives has always been Lakeshore Drive up Sheridan Road. And when you get up north of Kenilworth and Winnetka, you get into the ravines area. And I think every kid I knew in high school was driving those ravines, seeing who could get through the fastest and survive.
It's like Le Mans.
To us, it
for
was.
Teenagers.
And we drove it for 24 hours. So
That's great.
We wore it out. And
Yeah.
we wore some cars out doing that. But you don't have to travel far to have a good drive. And as we get some response from our listeners, I'm sure they're going to fill us in on some that we hadn't thought of.
You know, west in Illinois and south in Illinois is beautiful.
Yeah.
And the scenery is fun, and there's great towns along the way.
Great roads.
Great roads. Very nice, too. And same thing going north into Wisconsin.
Yes.
It's really beautiful, especially once you get north of Milwaukee and get really into the country there on your way, of course, to something like Road America. But it's therapy, man. It's everything you crave. It's everything I enjoy and want. It's just rewarding every time I get in a car and start it. Every single time still.
That's what we have in our DNA.
Yeah.
And that's who we are. And that's what we want to talk about. We want to celebrate great cars and great drives. We want to celebrate what the car's done for our country. And
stupid driving
included. But I don't want to finish up the show without asking you for a prediction, and you can ask me, of something that may happen in the next week that we can talk about on the next show.
I think there's so many things that could happen very quickly. I think electric cars are slowly creeping back.
And I predict Ford will have yet another recall.
And remember, we're always confident.
But often wrong. Thanks for listening to the RPM Club.
That was just fun.